Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is that loud enough? Whatever. That should be good enough. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, just quickly off the cuff, I wanted to make a video about realism. Realism. It's a thing which exists, but I don't think is defined clearly, and I'm kind of enthusiastic about it, so I feel the need to talk about it, naturally. Realism to me is something that can't really be understood, because reality, that vague term, reality as we know it, is composed of so many complex intricacies that we don't notice until we analyze them. So for instance, the fact that everything is are composed of atoms, like, you do not walk around, or at least I assume you don't walk around, looking at all things as if they were composed of billions and billions of atoms. Because first of all, you can't visualize it. You can't even comprehend the value, the number of atoms. Like, it's just so absurdly huge that it's just beyond comprehension. And yeah, that's atoms. That's one thing that is like, it's reality. It's scientific. It's like, you can't even deny it. They've gone, and I'm like, I could probably post a video on the side where there's been like photograph proof of atoms, like electron microscopes zooming down to that level, can see the atoms. So it's pretty amazing. So just realism. The fact that there's genres of music and art and well, music, art, dance. There's just realism everywhere. And it really, at its core, what it's trying to do is emulate what we perceive in the world without any type of modification. Because modification usually creates a different, it just changes entirely what reality is. And sometimes, because of the complexities of reality, I feel that realism is perfect, because if we don't analyze and kind of map out and try and, mess around with the intricacies of reality. So in a film, like realistic emotions, realistic relationships, realistic scenarios are things that we can all relate to, but there are things which, if you screw up one attribute, it makes it seem unrealistic. Suspension of belief. I guess that's a thing that happens when, or something writers have to take into account when they write a story. They have to make sure that the story is realistic enough so that the reader or viewer or audience wouldn't, question the logic in the film or in the story. So realism really in itself is something that is expressive and creative. I know there's a lot of people that like to think that realism kind of takes away that element, takes away the expression, takes away the creativity, the inventiveness needed needed for art. But I think it's just as hard to portray reality. I mean, difficulty doesn't really justify artistic license or something. I don't know, but I think it's just like a core thing that humans need to do. We need to understand reality as best as we can. So to take that and turn it into an art form, I think it just enhances our capability to break down and understand reality as we know it. I was explaining to my sister last night. We were just talking about education for a bit, and the only way you can understand something, what I was explaining, was that, like, I used the metaphor of like eating a piece of really rough steak or meat. Is something can be really very, very dense, like very compact and complex, but obviously people have eaten steak. How? by breaking it down, by like, not regardless of what your body does. Like before that, just the ingestion phase of the digestive process. Yeah, it's biology knowledge. Um, when you eat, you have to break down food using physical motions in your mouth and energy. So same too with knowledge. You have to break down, you have to mine the knowledge within something. So reality, I hate that word kind of, it's so goddamn vague. But the verisimilitude of the life around us is something worthy of being broken down and enhanced by artistic expression. That's basically all I want to say. That's basically all I want to say. I can't talk properly. Jeez. Like, I don't talk a lot. Maybe I do. In my head I do. I talk a lot in my head, so when I go on camera I can't talk properly. It's so sad. Yeah, anyways. That's all. Goodbye.